Hello everyone, Drew Campbell here, zooming from Shanghai, China. So today I'm going to give a brief introduction, firstly about who I am, what we do in the industry, in the fitness nutrition industry, a little bit about our background and why it is so important on branding in the nutrition, specifically the sports nutrition space. It's a little bit of background. A little bit of background about myself. I've been in the sports nutrition industry for a little over 23 years, originally from Melbourne, Australia, but I've been residing in China since 2005. We are the partners for the International Society of Sports Nutrition throughout Asia, China being one of our focuses. Our company that runs the courses for ISSN is called GPNI, or standing for the Global Performance Nutrition Institute. A little bit about the ISSN. They have two certifications. One is the Sports Nutrition Specialist certification, the other is CISSN. So we basically work with trainers throughout the industry on being better trainers in regards to knowledge of sports nutrition, or aka performance nutrition. So there's myself here, and the founder of the ISSN, the prestigious ISSN in the world, Dr. Jose Antonio and Dr. Douglas Kelman, and the president of the ISSN, Dr. Sean Arndt. This was taken back in 2018 at the ISSN annual conference. So a little bit about myself. I came in 2005, but we founded the first health food store chain called World Health Store, or WHS, in 2007 in Beijing. So what we had is basically everything in store. We had sports nutrition, protein, vitamins, you name it. I mean, before it was cool, before it was popular, way back in 2007, that's what we founded. So we did a whole bunch of different stuff, big stuff when it comes to branding and trying to get your name out there. You name it, we did it. We tried pretty much everything when it comes. And this is our office, Sizzling Solutions. We're in one of our rooms in our office, Sizzling Solutions. So this is where we work with fitness. We're a branding agency is one arm of what we do. So, and a little different than other branding or social media agencies, is we only focus on the fitness wellness sector. So that's one thing we do. And the biggest thing we do is the education aspect with the GPNI. So why branding? Why is it important? Very important. More so important in China, and I'm going to explain why. So very important understanding is there's three elements. There's many elements, but three major elements when it comes to sales. And I would like to argue and like to emphasize that branding is the most important in Asia, specifically China. The reason being, at the end of this thing, at the end of your sales conversion, you want a larger sales conversion when it comes to spending money online or offline. You want to be able to convert that customer into a sale easier and spend less money. Now, branding plays a much bigger role in that. Although your brand may be extremely famous outside of Asia or outside of China, it doesn't necessarily mean anybody has heard of it, or enough people have heard of it, or they don't know enough about your brand for that sales conversion to occur. So successful branding is key into China. This is very, very important. And an aspect I'd like to talk about here is ego, or another aspect is face. One thing in the audience you may or may not have heard is mianzi, or face. This is something quite unique to Asia, specifically China, where they care a lot about face. And face is another way of talking about ego, or talking about someone's reputation in society, and in China that matters greatly. And a representation or a way for a person to value if their reputation is high by other people, if their reputation is higher or lower, is what kind of brands they associate with. So if it's the Mercedes-Benz, or it is the Ferrari or the BMW, or in recent times Tesla, it elevates you in society, and it is good mienza. And I'm using car brands as an example, but it's no different in consumable brands when it comes to sports nutrition, wellness, fitness equipment, clothing, active apparel. It's all one in the same. The more your brand is seen of value to others, the more you are seen of value to others. So that is why the number one brand is very, very important in the China market. In many cases in the West, you're going to be looking at 80% of the market consisting of maybe 50 different brands. But in China, 80% of the market could be made up of 3 to 4 brands, and 20% of the market, the others feeding over the crumbs. Although those crumbs can be very large, it is the China market. So it's extremely, extremely important for your brand to stand out among others. And doing that requires a lot of different efforts, a lot of different tools, online as well as offline, and a continuous effort as well. And it's not easy. Even if you do all of these things, it's a matter of time, and a lot of time investment to be able to reach that into that bracket. So one of the obvious reasons, and I'm sure many of you know, is the Great Firewall, the internet aspect of things being closed out. Now these days there is such thing as a VPN, so people can access into China, but there is the language barrier, is another barrier of entry. In addition, there are the platform barriers. Like in China, there is no Facebook, or even if people can access Facebook or Instagram, they don't use it. They use the local social media platforms, the Douyin, TikTok, Bilibili, and of course the very obvious, and I'm sure you guys have heard of, the Weibo and the WeChat platforms. So if you're not active on these and you're only relying on your activation on your Instagram, your Facebook, or whatever means in your home country, then accessing China is going to be even more difficult. So it's extremely important to understand the Great Firewall of the blockage of the internet is not just in regards to the Great Firewall blocking the internet, but it's also ensuring that you're localizing your content and localizing your brand to that. The number one mistake many in China, entering China, is you focusing too much on, and I've heard this from time to time, from many times, is focusing too much on trying to find the perfect channel. So if I find the perfect channel, for example, I've opened on Tmall, I'm going to be on Tmall Global, Tmall.hk, and I've accessed the China market. Well, that is a major mistake, and the number one mistake a lot of people make is they realize they just have to get into China to be successful in China. But it's once you're in China is that difficult work begins. In fact, you don't even have to be in China if you have a hot brand in China. That's the grasp of it. I mean, other people can run your brand, sell your brand, and in many of the Australian brands cases, vitamin brands, none of them were actually in China. There was what's called Daigou or suitcase shoppers filling up suitcases in pharmacies and supermarkets and smuggling that into China because their brand was hot in China. So it's a good example of they didn't even have to be in China. And the channels were created because of the demand. So finding the perfect channel in China is probably one of the last things you should be looking at. Instead, getting your brand established, getting the right partners to sell the brand in China should be your biggest focus. usually call it influencers, but we sign up and manage and create the merchandise and clothing for the athletes. So you don't necessarily have to be here to make that successful. Okay, this is something huge, and this is something we've partnered with FIBO as well as one of our actually our exclusive trade show partner. But this is pretty cool. Up until recently, there has been very little true understanding of what is being sold into China when we're talking about nutrition. When we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about the vitamins, minerals, sports nutrition, baby formula, the whole gamut of nutrition. The reason being is there's only one channel that really gives accurate data in regards to what's being sold. And there's many other sales channels into China and within China that just simply don't have those data reports. So it's anyone's guess of what's being sold into China when it comes to brands, when it comes to products, when it comes to categories. So together with a friend, we created a joint venture, and it's a big data agency specifically for the nutrition space. And this is pretty cool. Why? It's because for the first time ever, we can go in and fully analyze what's being sold, at what price, what flavors, what categories, what's hot, when's hot, and also what brands are selling at the highest. I mean, we've been doing recent reports, and it's, as to my point I made earlier in regards to the importance of brand, in one case in sports nutrition, on imported sports nutrition brand, there's one particular brand. So price monitoring, truly understanding, where the price points are in your competition, not just what their retail price is, but also what their promotional price is, and are they dropping price this month or that month. I mean, all of these key things, when you're a big brand and you're wanting to really come in and sell and understand the market, it's these big data, this data that is extremely important to analyze and dissect and truly go deep into making your strategy into the market a lot more effective and spend less money. So, I mean, let's face it, there's, as I said earlier, there's branding, sales, marketing, conversion. If you have a stronger understanding of what your market is like, what your product is like, what your price range, what your price points are like, then you're going to be spending less money on marketing, therefore making more sales, and therefore having a higher conversion rate. And that's what it's all about, is creating a higher conversion rate. So trends like what's hot, social listening, so understanding what's hot in the social aspects, what product are people talking about most, what's the brands people are talking about most, these type of social listening, big data. So some of our cool stuff with the ISSN. Now, one thing that you have to do, and we've got one coming up in March, it's imperative, is offline. You can't exclusively rely on online. Now, online is going to be probably about 90% of your activation, but it's not going to be everything. Extremely important. I would highly recommend looking into trade shows. One in particular we work for, and part of this video is sponsored by, is FIBO. Now, FIBO, as many of you know, is the global leader when it comes to trade shows, and especially in Germany. They are the largest fitness and sports nutrition trade show in the world. They've been partnered with a very reputable company in China called Reed. Well, so Reed is the Western one, and Sinopharm is their partner in China, and they're a really good team. I actually much prefer working with the FIBO team over some of the other local trade shows. I just feel they're a lot more professional and more Western minded. In 2018, at FIBO, and this is a few years ago, our labs in FIBO, believe in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So we've had a good solid run with FIBO, and again, I do like working with them. That's at another trade show in March. I think that was in 2016. And this is the same trade show in 2016 too, for FIBO, with another brand that we launched in the market called R-Labs, and that's our brand WHS back in the day. Okay. Another important aspect we can help for some customers, these are only for the very, very serious customers, is helping with the importing and regulatory strategy when it comes to nutrition into China. We did it for ourselves for many, many years. It's not easy. It's always changing. But many things in China, it comes to who you know and not what you know. And in our case, it's who you know and what we know. So we have both ends of the field, and we have some very, very unique and very quality partners that can help on pretty much most selection of health products and nutrition, especially sports nutrition products. So if coming to China, the reason you're not coming to China is because you think it's impossible to import, well, we can help solve that. It's not easy. There is some cost involved, but it can be done. So that's something else we can help with. A little bit about me. I love exercise. I just wanted to add that in. I'm not just a business guy. It's a big part of my life, and I even love ice cold baths. So the Wim Hof method, if any of you have heard of it. So that's us. By all means, you can get in contact with us. There's our Instagram, Sizzling Solutions _ our Facebook, our website, Sizzling So, and we're on Facebook too. So it's Sizzling So, SZZLINGSO.com. Some of the other work that I do is consulting and advisory work. Board member for some fitness nutrition companies. And you can get in contact with me here on Skype, Huzi, Huzi, Drew, / and Drew at Sizzling So. That's DREW at sizzlingso.com, or by all means just get in contact with FIBO, who's our sponsor for today, and I'm sure they'd be happy to link you up. And if anyone else has any other questions or there's a demand to learn more about access into China, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer the questions. Thank you. Goodbye.